Hey, it's Ashley here. I am a 3-wing 4, a sexual 3-wing 4, so I can look like a 7 or a 2. And I'm dating a 1-wing 2 who is either a self-preservation or social dominant. I want to refer to the Enneagram Institute for the relationship dynamics between type 1 and type 7, my look-alike. And hopefully you find this helpful because I really appreciate the resource of Enneagram Institute. Fortunately, Enneagram 1s and 7s have a particularly complementary and reciprocal relationship. They are opposites who can bring something needed to the other person, thereby helping both to achieve new growth, or as we shall see, they can drive each other further apart by playing on each other's weaknesses, whether consciously or not. 1s bring conscientiousness, orderliness, good work habits, methodical attention to detail, and a pleasure in maintaining excellence and high standards. I can definitely see that in my 1-wing 2. On the other hand, 7s bring spontaneity, high energy, curiosity, an orientation toward fun and adventure, desire to try new things, and an ability not to get too hung up with getting everything done perfectly. Wow. That last part, we can see how that would contrast with the 1 who is all about perfection. Both types can be initiators and planners, future-oriented and idealistic, although 7s tend to prefer having multiple options and to keep plans loose, so the plans can be changed as needed. 7s bring freedom and spontaneity. 1s are more methodical and help 7s stay on track. They resist getting distracted by too many options and excel at following through with their plans. Just reading this, I think of the judging types versus the perceiving types in the Myers-Briggs, and you'll see a correlation between Enneagram and Myers-Briggs, Jungian psychology. 7s offer 1s a sense of excitement and life as a source of pleasure and enjoyment. We do. 1s offer 7s a sense of purpose and idealism, as well as direction and the feeling that life is noble and meaningful. 7s keep 1's spirits up, refreshing their idealism while preventing the relationship from becoming too heavy. That is, if 7 is in a healthy state. 1s tend to be more steady than 7s, absolutely, because they're more emotionally repressed, so they have fewer emotions to regulate compared to the roller coaster of the 7. 1s help steady 7s, keeping them working systematically and consistently toward goals. Just by seeing my 1 work, it inspires me to also work. That is, to focus my energy on something meaningful to me. 7s appreciate the 1's consistency and reliability and are glad to have someone who can attend to details. These 2 types can be highly supportive of each other as long as their ultimate values are congruent and as long as they are both working for the same fundamental things in life. This tends to be a stimulating relationship for both. They stretch each other and are fascinated and challenged by their differences. Well, we're definitely challenged by our differences. Fascinated. I'm not a pure type 7, nor am I a healthy 7. Most people are actually in the level 5 of psychological health. That's an average level of health. But healthy types are levels 1, 2, and 3 for the levels of health. So most people are at an average level of health. So to be fascinated by each other, to appreciate each other, that takes some work, especially if you look at life so differently. What I really like about the Enneagram Institute are the potential trouble spots or issues that they bring up, because when things are getting along great, we don't really need to look at the details of that, in my opinion. But when things are starting to break apart, when the honeymoon phase is over and we see everybody's differences, and there's that tension and the friction and the disconnect, it's so helpful to see how the relationship could play out. So these are those trouble spots for the 1 and 7 dynamic. As stress increases, 1s become increasingly critical, judgmental, inflexible, and insistent that things be done only one way, and that is their way, the right way. They, the ones, inevitably begin to see sevens as undisciplined and inefficient, self-centered and childish. Ones feel that sevens are scattered and tend to fool around too much, overextending resources and overbooking themselves and promising too much to too many people. Ones are kind of the politician or the statesperson, the public figure who looks after the collective, while sevens are the comedian. So you can see how different they are and how that tension can arise from their differences. Ones also often feel that sevens are unfocused and scattered simply to annoy them and to get back at them, the ones, passive-aggressively, without seeming to be hostile or petty themselves. That's interesting. I would never think the one would look into my behavior and read bad intention from it. On the other hand, sevens tend to see lower functioning ones as too prissy and perfectionistic, and ultimately as someone who needs to be kicked in the pants to loosen up a bit. Conflicts between the two types also often focus on organizational and financial matters, with ones feeling that sevens are wasteful, while sevens feel ones are too tight-fisted and have no vision or pizzazz. It almost feels like we have to pull teeth to plan a vacation in a different location because the ones are so focused on the task at hand. Sevens eventually tire of the one's continual criticism and dissatisfaction with them. Pursuing other options in the relationship, other people, becomes more and more attractive since sevens deeply resist feeling trapped or being in situations that continually produce unhappiness. Unfortunately, low-functioning ones contribute to this. If matters continue to deteriorate, ones will lose respect for sevens. Yes. Sevens get depressed easily, or more easily than other types because of their access to their emotions. And ones who don't feel the same emotion will start to judge the sevens for not being able to be as resilient. As I said, ones will lose respect for sevens who become increasingly pushy and demanding with a calloused, vulgar tone. Sevens want to keep going out, doing new things, and the ones take judgment with that. Ones find the sevens' vulgarity to be extremely embarrassing and can become disillusioned and depressed. Oh, I haven't seen that. He's too healthy for that. Withdrawing emotional connection, sure, from sevens. Thus, a disdainful contempt, one of the four horsemen of the ending of a marriage, for the other can enter the picture from both sides, making reconciliation even more difficult. I don't like him for saying judgmental things about me. He doesn't like me for just exploring other options in the relationship. Ones criticize sevens for a while, then silently give up on them until some event spells a fatal blow to the relationship. Which, according to this, would be the seven leaving the one for someone more fun. But I want to draw attention back. You remember that key phrase that ones and sevens have a particularly complementary and reciprocal relationship. They're opposites who bring something needed to the other person. They help each other grow. And this 1 and 7 combination is one of the top 3 most common relationship pairings, I believe, by Julie Sheeposh, who's a dating coach and an Enneagram coach. So 1s and 7s naturally attract each other, and this is kind of as good as it gets. So I would advise 1s and 7s to try to work it out and try to appreciate each other for each other's differences, because we really do balance each other.